All right, just got done watching UFC Fight Night Saudi Arabia. Adesanya versus Imavov. Damn it, I forgot. He said in his post-fight interview, or in the Octagon interview, rather, like how to say his name properly, and I already forgot. That's embarrassing. Sorry, bro. Okay, so yeah. What the fuck? I did decent on this card. I think I did pretty good on picks. I got 3 wrong. Technically 4 wrong, but we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, I was not any... Yeah, I could not have been less correct on this main event. This did not go how I thought it would at all. Israel Adesanya is cooked. Oh man, that sucks. Okay. So let's just get into it then. I don't have a script or anything. We're just gonna jump right into this. So yeah, I technically got 4 wrong on this card, but that's if I include this one. And I gotta be honest, I think this was kind of a shart-ass decision. It's not the worst robbery ever. It was definitely, I mean, it was a split. It was definitely a close fight. It was competitive. The only round that I felt like Hamdi Abdelwahab won soundly was the first one, where he looked quick and he took Jamal down and he had some pop in his hands, and you know, when he had more gas in the tank, he was doing really well. But I thought Jamal Pogues won the last 2 rounds. Not by like a crazy margin, but I thought he was staying on the outside well, landing more strikes. He was landing more and at a higher percentage than Hamdi. So I just don't, again, he didn't like dominantly win. It wasn't obvious, but I just don't really see how you can give Hamdi this fight. It's very odd. But yeah, whatever. No harm, no foul. Well, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I thought it would be a really stinky fight. It was fine. It was fine. They were swinging. Okay. Second fight. This one was a lot more entertaining, I will say. Bogdan Grad got the second round TKO over Lucas Alexander. Now, I will say with this one, Lucas Alexander, despite getting finished in the second round, he surprised me with how good he looked. He was looking sharp. This dude has some seriously slick striking on the feet. And in my prediction video, I said that Bogdan Grad is really good at closing the distance, and so that would kind of mitigate Alexander's rangy striking. But to be honest, maybe we could say that for the first round, but for a lot of the second round, Alexander was kind of piecing him up. Like, it wasn't... Bogdan Grad was definitely pressing the action and being a lot more aggressive, but Alexander, he wasn't doing bad at all. You know, I don't think we should go ahead and cut him or anything. He has been finished 3 times in the UFC, but I'd say let's give him one more shot at least. Bogdan Grad was very wild. He was like a bull in a china shop in this fight. He was trying to kill this dude. It was a gnarly, nasty, mean ground and pound finish. But yeah, good fight. Okay. So this one I also got wrong. Yeah, I mean, Jasmine, I've been saying her last name wrong. I think it's Jasdavicius. Jasmine Jasdavicius. Yeah, she got the win. Again, I wasn't very confident in this one. I'm pretty sure this was the only one in that prediction video where I just came up with a guess on the fly, but I thought that Silva was going to be a lot more imposing on the feet and would be able to scramble on the ground and make it really competitive. But Jasmine Jasdavicius, why is that so hard to say? She pretty much had her way with her. You know, it was very comfortable. There wasn't really... Silva was able to land some good strikes, but, you know, nothing really earth-shattering, nothing too crazy. So, yeah, good win. Fine fight. It wasn't anything to write home about, really. Okay, Terrence McKinney, first round TKO against Emir Hadzovic. I thought he would just KO him outright, but, yeah, ended up being some pretty relentless ground and pound. Basically, Demir didn't stand a chance in this fight. Terrence McKinney was out for blood. He was trying to kill this dude, like owed him money or something. He was absolutely ripping him limb from limb. This is a dominant performance, dominant finish. I kind of saw it going that way. I know Terrence McKinney is hard to bet on. He's been finished so many times, but I just didn't see Hadzovic having really anything for him. And he's just older and slower and doesn't have the same finishing potential. So yeah, good win for Terrence McKinney. He called out Chris Duncan. I'd be down for that. I'm pretty sure Chris Duncan has some thudding power in his hands, so that'll be interesting. It'll be kind of like who can land on the chin first, pretty much. But yeah. And then I didn't see this coming. So I know in his debut against Martin Budai, Shamil Gaziev was like fucking him up basically, and was able to TKO him. But he, the last couple, like the Jairzinho Rosenstrike fight and then the Dontel Mays one, he didn't look nearly as impressive, looked a lot slower. I didn't actually know this until they mentioned it on the commentary of this fight, that in the Dontel Mays one, his hand was broken. The fact he was still able to win is really impressive. But yeah, I saw this being a really shit-ass crap heavyweight blob fest, basically, where Shamil would just land the more thudding strikes and then take Thomas Peterson down and grapple him. But it went a little different than that, as you can see. I had this one going to a decision. But first of all, Thomas Peterson didn't look bad. He was... actually, I think he was able to take down Shamil Gaziev at one point, from my memory. But he just... it was basically one hitter quitter. It was just lights out. The first real thudding right hand that Gaziev landed, like as 3 minutes in, and Peterson was done. There was just nothing he could do. So yeah, great knockout. Who do I think Shamil Gaziev should fight? Probably, let's try and give him another ranked fighter. Maybe not a Jairzinho on short notice, but maybe someone, on the cusp. Maybe a, well, you know what they could do if they wanted to? If they really wanted to, they could do him versus Derek Lewis. That could be fun. And, Thomas Peterson, I don't know. I don't really care. Sorry. And then to close out the prelims, we had Mohammed Naimov versus Khan Ofli. This was more competitive than I thought it would be. Khan Ofli's definitely game. He definitely belongs here. But Naimov was just... He was just kind of one step ahead of him. Generally, even though it was competitive, he was one step ahead pretty much the entire fight and had the bigger moments. At one point, he dropped him in the second round and then... got the takedown in the third and just kind of had his way with him. It wasn't an easy win or anything, but yeah, again, I don't know what they were thinking giving this guy who lost in the tough finale to Mohammed Naimov on his debut. That is crazy work. But yeah, okay. Main card. I'm kind of zipping through these because I got some place to be, so not going too in-depth. But for Ziam versus Mike Davis, I got this one hella wrong. It was, I don't want to say it was close. It was decently competitive. But Ziam looked really good in this fight. He definitely proved me wrong. I thought that based on how Matt Frevola looked in their fight, that I didn't know how much shine we should really put on that and how much credit we should give to him for that. And Mike Davis, he doesn't fight that often, but like I said, when he comes, he's always just good everywhere. Especially in the grappling. I was shocked at how much success Ziam had in the grappling in this fight. Yeah, that was nuts. So yeah, this was a bloody fight, by the way. This is one of the bloodiest fights I've seen in a while. They cut basically each other on the exact same spot, like they both had a cut above the eyebrow, and they were bleeding everywhere. It was disgusting. But yeah, great win for Ziam. I don't remember if he called anyone out. I think a ranked fight is reasonable at this point. I think that was a solid litmus test. I want to see this guy in there. Maybe a, I'm trying to think of who's at the top of the rankings right now. Maybe a BSD, maybe a Grant Dawson. Someone, higher up there. I don't want to see him get thrown right into the mix too quickly, but yeah, great win. Okay, so I also got... Wait. Yeah, I got 4 wrong, sorry. I got 4 wrong. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 4 wrong. Okay. So correction, I actually got 4 picks wrong. 5 technically if you count that first one, but I think most people would agree that Jamal Pogues won that fight. So I got 4 wrong. This one, yeah, I wasn't shocked by this. I mean, oh my god, total strike is 69 to 68. That's insane. Yeah, so that would lead you to believe this fight was closer than it was. Vinicius Oliveira, despite losing the first round pretty distinctly, pretty decisively, Said Magomedov took that first round. But Vinicius came back in the last 2 and was just pushing the pace and wearing him down with the grappling, which I didn't expect. That a lot of unexpected grappling success from some of these fighters on this card. I really thought Said would have the grappling advantage. But Oliveira was able to wear him down and push him up against the fence and do his thing. Even if Said's the more talented striker, Oliveira's great, don't get me wrong, but Said's basically our next best Zabit Nurmagomedov at a bantamweight. He's basically the best we got. But yeah, the issue with having those super flashy spinning elbows and kicks and everything is it looks great in the first round, but Saeed started looking fucking tired in the second round alone. And by the time we got to the third, I have never seen him look like that. He looked wiped. And Oliveira was able to just, wear him down to nothing, basically. Just wear him down to the bone. Good-ass fight. Maybe not as explosive as we were expecting, but, you know, that can happen sometimes when you have dangerous strikers who are pretty similar in their skill set fighting each other. You get some unexpected things. Vice versa, like you get some, if it's like a grappler versus grappler type deal, you might get a striking matchup that you weren't expecting going in. So yeah, pretty good fight. Now this one was not a pretty good fight. This one sucked dick and balls. I don't know. It wasn't as bad as this, but it was seriously giving me Ngannou versus Derek Lewis vibes, where first of all, these two, Pavlovich and Rosenstrike, used to train together, so they know each other's every move, basically. And they're both dangerous power punchers. Rosenstrike obviously isn't as dangerous as Pavlovich, but they're still, you know, they can hit hard. And they were both very tepid. I think especially with Pavlovich, some of his confidence was taken away by the knockout loss to Aspinall and then getting kind of dog-walked a little bit by Volkov. So he was playing it very safe. It kind of reminded me, another fight it reminded me of, is when Darren Till lost to T. Wood and Masvidal back-to-back, and then he had that Gastelum fight where he was playing it super safe, and it was fucking boring. So I do expect Pavlovich to kind of be back to his normal self in his next fight. He was clearly just trying to not get finished or lose 3 in a row. So yeah, this one was rough. You know it's bad when the ref is stepping in and like doing the whole like, come on guys, come on, work, when they're standing at range. Like usually they only say something like that if it's like camping a guard or clinch fucking up against the fence and it's just, there's nothing happening. But you know it's bad when they're standing at range, feinting at each other, and nothing's happening and the ref has to tell them to stop being so fucking boring. So yeah, this one sucked. I did pick Pavlovich to win. I thought he'd knock him out. He did catch Rosenstrike with some really good shots, I will say that. And Rosenstrike has a better chin than I gave him credit for because he was eating him. I don't know how. Pavlovich, he wasn't putting his full body into it or anything, but he was still catching him with some nasty shit occasionally. And kind of woke the crowd up like, oh, never mind. Okay, now they're jabbing at range again. Anyway, yeah, this fight sucked. I don't really... like, when you get a fight like this, it doesn't make me very excited for the future for either of these guys. Like, I don't really care who I want to see them fight next. Like, Pavlovich... Who do you give Pavlovich? I don't think he deserves to go up. I think he has to fight another guy coming from back down the rankings behind him. Not after that performance. No title shot, sir. No thanks. Okay. This one, I felt like a fucking genius because people seemed kind of split. One of my friends said that if you put a gun to his head, he would probably pick Magomedov on this one because he's, and I get it, you know, he has some flashy knockouts and he's master of the 8 limbs and he has more tools in the bag than MVP. MVP's style is, I don't want to say one-dimensional, but it's very, you know what he's going to do in every fight, basically. And yeah, this, I kind of was worried this one might be a bit of a dud. This is just what MVP does, man. I like the guy, I really do, and I like his style. I like how it befuddles people. I think it's funny. And I think he's a great personality to throw into the mix, but I didn't know. I don't want to say I knew. I don't want to be too smug, but I had a feeling that Shara was just going to be a little perplexed by MVP staying in front of him, because, like, it's MVP, he's bouncing on the balls of his feet, and he's basically just constantly prepping himself to explode into an overhand right or something, and he's just like overloading Shara Bullet's nervous system the entire fight. And I liken it to like if you're in an old, like back in the old West, like a gunslinger duel, and you have a guy in MVP who's basically just acting like he's going for his gun, but doing that for like 5 minutes, and so when he actually does pull and shoot, you don't even really react to it like you normally would. He's really good. He's maybe the best at just that, at just keeping you on your toes, keeping you anxious, despite the fact he doesn't really do anything that unique. It's his like bladed stance and the way he fights, it limits him to only doing a few things basically. But he's just good at getting himself out the way of danger, man. It's really hard to hit the guy. And even if Shara apparently slightly outlanded him, MVP just had the bigger moments. And a lot of those, honestly, a lot of those strikes from Shara were probably leg kicks. He did land a decent few of those, but MVP just had the bigger moments. Uneventful fight. I wasn't sure. I said it could be a fun fight. It could be a bit of a dud. It was a bit of a dud, but it wasn't the worst thing in the world. I don't think this might temporarily halt the hype train of Shara Bullet, but I mean, MVP made Ian. We saw how good Ian Gary looked against Shavkat Rakhmonov, right? MVP made Ian Gary look like dog ass. He looked horrible in that fight. Had to resort to grappling, and I knew Shara Bullet wouldn't have that grappling. So yeah, I wasn't too shocked. I felt like such a genius on this one. I didn't get every fight correct on this card, but this one went to a T how I thought. I was like, oh, my confidence was up. I was like, I know what the fuck I'm talking about. And then the main event happened. So yeah, Israel Adesanya was looking decent in that first round. He might have looked a little slower, but you know, he was when that first round ended, it was kind of similar. This fight was actually very similar to the Volk versus Topuria one, where the first round, it's like Imavov couldn't really get anything going. Like Izzy was just lighting him up, question mark kicks, body kicks, jabs, leg kicks, just throwing the kitchen sink at him. And Imavov tried to initiate the grappling, and Izzy was able to shuck him off. Like, Izzy was looking pretty good in that first round, in my opinion. And then out of fucking nowhere, Imavov starches him with an overhand right. Like, what the fuck? I actually screamed. I wish I was recording it. I was not expecting it at all. I did not know Imavov, that's how you say it. I did not know Imavov had that in him. And like, Izzy's not that chinny. Maybe he is. Maybe Izzy is a little chinny. Maybe that's just from the Alex Pereira loss. It might be, because when I think about it, ever since that second Pereira fight, he gets rocked by Sean Strickland in their fight. And Strickland does not hit that hard at all. It was a really well-timed shot. Not to discredit Strickland too much, but yeah, he got rocked in that one, and then gets rocked and then submitted by DDP. One punch, not one punch, it was a TKO, but dropped by Imavov, which Imavov doesn't really, he doesn't hit like that. Like, Izzy's chin just might be a little shot, man, which sucks. There's nothing you can do about that, really. It's clearly not a motivation issue. It's not a skill issue. He's still good. But if your chin's gone, you know what? People were talking about when Izzy was coming up, him being like the new Anderson Silva almost, and he's starting to live that out a little bit. You know, dominant champion, had a couple boring performances towards the end of his title run, gets the belt taken, and then it's not been like a straight loss streak. I mean, it is now. We're at 3. But the way Anderson started just losing to everyone, it's starting to look like that, man. I mean, especially when it's as like dominant as these last. I mean, the DDP fight was pretty competitive, but yeah, man, once your chin's gone, oof. I don't want to say he's totally cooked, but I did not expect that to happen, man. I did not. I don't think anyone did. Even if they thought Imavov was going to win, it maybe. I expected if Imavov. Why can't I say this fucking dude's name? If he was going to win, I thought it would probably go to a decision and there'd be a lot of grappling involved or something. But I just thought Izzy would have his number. It was seriously shocking stuff. Great KO for Imavov. He definitely, in my opinion, deserves a title shot more than Hamzat. They're probably going to do the Hamzat one because Hamzat's a bigger name. But yeah, no, Imavov definitely deserves that title shot. Like, crazy good win streak he's on right now. Honestly, even though they both guys, you know, taking out Whitaker and Izzy at the top of the rankings, both guys have an equal claim, in my opinion. I do think Imavov deserves it a little more because he has more wins at middleweight, way more wins than Hamzat. But given that DDP and Sean Strickland are going to be fighting in a week, and it's going to be probably a good 6 months before the winner of that wants to defend, I'm not saying they have to do this, but they could fight each other because it's going to be one or the other. One guy's going to be waiting a long time for a title shot, like maybe a year, maybe 10 months. Like, that's kind of rough. So Maybe we see the Hamzat fight. That could be interesting. For Izzy, I don't know, dude. I really don't know what you do with him. I don't want to say he should retire. I think maybe we give him one more shot. Maybe a less dangerous middleweight to get his confidence back. But again, I don't know if it's much of a confidence thing or a motivation thing. He just got caught. He seemed really hungry in this fight, and he was looking good. He was trying to hurt this guy, but he just got caught. I mean, what do? You know, but that's 3 fights in a row where he's got rocked. So I think Pereira might be haunting him a little bit from up at light heavyweight. Yeah, that's rough. Anyway, that's my breakdown. Crazy card. I will be dropping a prediction video for UFC 312. It's a bit of a stinker, an absolute rectum puckering fucking stinker. But whatever. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you.